Are we about to get a breakthrough with the Marcus Rashford transfer saga? Reports in Spain, significant reports in Spain from a big publication over there, have said there is movement and maybe a compromise is on the agenda with Marcus Rashford's wages. We will see. I'm going into all the report of that. Christopher Nkunku talk has gathered momentum overnight. Florian Plettenberg and Fabrizio Romano both having their say on that situation and where we're at with that, how that has actually developed. There are other rumours about transfer targets Manchester United are going for, and this big push to support Ruben Amorim in the summer, not January but the summer. I'm going to go through the realistic ones on them and what have been said, because there's a few there that just are way out there. I'm going to explain why United don't stand a chance of getting players that everybody feels that United should be getting as well. We're going to get you all the updates, and we're going to talk a little bit about what is going to be happening this weekend. Do United fans just have to accept that we're going to struggle in every single game now? Should we just let that settle in and just accept that we are going to be up against it in every single game, no matter who we play, and that will help us? It will help our mindset anyway. It will help us get through these last few months of the season. We'll talk about that a little bit at the end, but we are hitting all of your transfer news and everything that's going on. Obviously, we are, 9 days away, coming up to the last week of the transfer window. It is getting a little bit tense. In fact, no, it's 8 days away now from the end of the transfer window. I correct myself on that one. So, what is happening? The big names, obviously, Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, Casemiro for leaving Manchester United. In terms of targets coming in, it's Patrick Dorgu, possibly Christopher Nkunku, and they are the latest in terms of on everybody's lips and where the transfer rumour mill is taking us. And speculation-wise, we're talking Marcus Rashford first of all today. I say speculation. Mundo Deportivo, big publication over in Spain, have come out with a story this morning stating that Marcus Rashford has told his representatives to inform Deco, the director at Barcelona, that he is willing to take a pay cut to move to Barcelona. Now, you can look at that story and say that may be made up, that may be fabricated, that may have just been made up because of everything that's going on right now. But when you look at everything that's going on right now and you look at how this has developed, we're seeing that Dortmund are out the race, AC Milan are out the race. We're seeing that Napoli have dropped, Juventus have dropped. No one in France can afford him. He's not going to move to Saudi Arabia. Right now, Marcus Rashford's career hangs in the balance. We said it on Thursday in the Rangers game. Marcus Rashford's fully back in training. And no matter what the PR spin was, what The Athletic and David Ornstein said, yes, David Ornstein of The Athletic, one of the most reliable sources that there is out there in the journalist world, said that Marcus Rashford is 100% ready to go back in training. Everything is all right. He's got no issue with Ruben Amorim. It counts for absolutely nothing because Ruben Amorim has got a problem with him. He didn't put him on the bench, even though he was missing 2 of his possible allocation of substitutes for the game against Rangers on Thursday. So he didn't fill his allocation of players he could take to the game, even though Rashford was fit. He would still have Anthony on the pitch ahead of him, who was already gone. We said all that in the week. So Ruben has made his point very, very clear, I think. Get him out. When asked about it in the press conference, we talked about it yesterday. And yesterday, Ruben Amorim said, look, we're not going to talk about it yet. We have 8 days left of the transfer window. That was on Thursday, actually, in the press conference. But obviously, it's embargoed for yesterday. So when he's saying that, he's made it very, very clear. Look, he's made this point about not picking players that are not right for this team. He has said what he wants to about Marcus Rashford in publications and in press conferences as well. He has talked the talk and walked the walk because Rashford hasn't featured for 11 straight games. There is no compromise with Rashford and Amorim. It's now time to move forward. Move back to when Marcus Rashford apparently said there's a deadline for Barcelona to come back to him with the possibility of making this move happen. And now Rashford, like we've just said then in the opening to the video, is that he is now in a position where there is nowhere else to go. There is only one club that actively wants him right now, but will only take him if he takes a pay cut. And then we get the stories today from Mundo Deportivo from Spain that this is now possibly something that could happen. And Marcus Rashford could take a pay cut from what he is on right at the moment. So, when you look at it from Rashford's side, from Ruben's side, from Barcelona's side, that's your triangle right there. They're the issues that have to all align. Now, Ruben's made his point. He does not care. Go. So, no problem with Marcus Rashford leaving United. Ruben's done. So then you move to Marcus Rashford. It's up to him. He knows no one else wants him. He knows no one else is willing to take a chance on him because of what he wants. His only move that he ever wanted seems like it's Barcelona. for his ego or whatever. And now they're saying that you have to take a pay cut. They're struggling to move players on. Ansu Fati does not want to move. He's told Hansi Flick that he doesn't want to move in January, which would scupper Manchester United moving Marcus Rashford on. Then you're looking at Garcia as the other possible outgoing at Barcelona, and Frenkie de Jong and Araujo. Araujo's just signed a new contract. Frenkie de Jong, no one can afford him. Garcia actually scored in the Champions League this week. So when you look at everything that's happening right now, the players that are in play, the players that are in play here right now, everything that's already developed, there's only going to be one person here to actually move this deal forward from where it is right now. Because if Ineos are going to take that stance that they have with Antony, and credit to them, they've got a cracking little deal in terms of loan for getting Antony out of the door. That, I think, is important to remember in this, in all of the chaos and things that are going wrong with Ineos at the moment. They did get a good deal out of that Antony loan. The fact that we could actually come away with making a profit off Antony going away on loan is miraculous, to say the least. But that's how the finances and how this deal is structured to be working. There is a very, very good chance that United could actually make money off Antony's loan move. God, honestly, we can go into the details of it if you want, but just so you know, like, that's what the deal is. It's actually really good. So just to use that as an example again, in terms of they are going to stand firm in terms of teams wanting to loan out players from Manchester United. If you're going to loan a first team player, don't forget, we weren't for loaning any players in the summer from the first team. No one. Only academy players were going out on loan. The first team stance was no loans at all for first team players. Obviously Antony has gone, and we have seen the first example of what a first team player going out on loan is going to look like structure wise with wages and how the deal moves. So this is the example. So if this is going to be the case with Ineos and how they're going to do it, they are reluctantly going to say no. We are not going to allow another club to come and benefit off us and take a player on these wages that we're having to subsidise so much. They will pay a part of Rashford's wages, quite clearly, because they're doing a little bit of Antony's, and that's how they're going to work, but it's not going to be a lot. So does Marcus Rashford then step in and say, well, Ruben's doing this, Manchester United are doing this, my boyhood club, and everything that I have come out and stated in interviews and pages in newspapers that I love and I'm not going to make an issue of, they have made their stance, and now I'm stuck. Ruben's not going to play me. Ineos are not going to move with their wages in subsidising what I want. What do I want to do? I think United have cornered Marcus Rashford. I think the PR stunt from this week about him being back in training, obviously he should be in training. He has to be staying fit. Like, we want him to be training and doing what's necessary right now. But by PR, I mean the Athletic and Ornstein and everybody else coming out and saying that there's no problem on Rashford's side. He wants to play for Manchester United. I think that was like a last push to try and make something happen, and it's just been shut down again. Look, they are not going to buckle. If anything that comes out of this, even if Marcus Rashford doesn't end up moving, I think we are now seeing at United, and there's not much in terms of positives around this football club at the moment. There really isn't, and we know this. Obviously, we're into the Europa League. We're looking like we're into the latter stages of that, and that's a positive. Hopefully, we can get a win tomorrow. That would be a great week for United in terms of what's happening on and off the pitch. But the one thing we can say that's come out of this so far, with Ineos coming through the door at Manchester United, amongst all of the negative, is one big positive of Player FC being completely obliterated. It has gone. It's not going to happen anymore. And that, I feel, is something that we can hold on to and say, look, if we are going to move forward, we have to hit the big issues face on. And this is probably, with all, I would say, Manchester United fans, the biggest issue that's been around this club for more than a decade now. We've heard about all of the interviews that Rio Ferdinand has given. Obviously, the podcast that he was doing when he was talking with Phil Jones, and then asking Wayne Rooney what was going on with United players dancing around when we're in sixth in the table. The deterioration from that point then, and that wasn't too long after Sir Alex Ferguson left. That was only a few years after. We're going into the Jose Mourinho era there. So we're, 3 years after Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club. We've got the Pogba dancing with Lingard situation. So literally in them first 3 years, United lost all of its standing, really, when it came to who was in charge at the football club, what was going on, how the club was run. It just completely fell apart from that point, and that has been proven there with what's going on. It's got worse and worse and worse, and Ineos have had to come in and make drastic changes to that. And that's one thing I will stand up for Ineos on, in terms of standing their ground with that, with the player side of things. We want to see more. We want to see more players gone. We want to see more action, because we're getting stung off the pitch, which is wrong, completely wrong. Everything around Old Trafford at the moment that we've discussed is just disgusting, in my opinion. But when we're just talking separately, we're talking about players, we're talking about what they have done and where they're at. I do believe now that they have done right in Manchester United in terms of Player FC. And I will say that that is a huge and probably the best thing that they've done so far since coming into United, along with Ruben Amorim. But I think Ruben Amorim is the reason why Player FC has gone. Like, I think they've brought the right man in to do it. Someone with backbone. Someone who isn't far away from playing the game, as in not long retired and fresh into management. He said it, didn't he? In his first interviews, Ruben Amorim said it. He said, I, as a player, I know all the tricks. I know when these players are trying to kid me. I know when it's like fake effort. And he has called out what he said in his first statement. He's not coming talking complete garbage. Well, it looks like garbage, because no one's ever followed through with what their philosophy was, or their plans, or their vision for the club. They've all just fallen into this player power trap and what Manchester United are. Ruben Amorim is the first manager to come and just basically say, this is what I am, this is what I'm going to do, and he is doing it. And I think Rashford is the big example of this. This is huge. But because it's so bad on the pitch and everywhere else off the pitch, I don't think people are really actually accepting what has actually happened here and what's been done by Ineos. So when you put all that into what's going on, I just feel like we are now in a better position. And it's up to Marcus Rashford. Everything that I've just said there is obviously what his representatives are going to be talking about, what he's going to be thinking about, and he has to look at it realistically now and say, okay, yeah, maybe this is the end. Maybe this is me having to do something right now, because nothing else is going to move at all. And it's brilliant. It is. The player's been backed into a corner. This is everything that's now, for me, foundation-wise, needed. This is where we move on from here. I think, honestly, this is everything that we've been waiting for, everything that the club have been trying to build but failing with. And in the end, I think this news today, if this is true from the Spanish side of things, Marcus Rashford coming out and saying that he's now looking to take a pay cut to move to Barcelona. Finally, we've actually grown a backbone with these players. And I think that's what we can take from it. But yeah, that is the news on Marcus Rashford. Let's get into the chat and let's talk about this situation and what you think might happen. Are you confident that this will happen? No, that's the thing. We've got a poll running right now. Will Rashford leave the club in January? 52% of you have said no. When we did this at the start of the window, this very same poll was round about 65-70%. I remember it. Going right back to the start of January. Everyone was confident, and I can completely see why everyone isn't as confident now. Because he isn't moving anywhere. He hasn't looked like he has made an effort, but maybe this is the first steps. That's all we can hope for. We're going to be talking about the news and what's happening, and we can decide in ourselves, like, is this genuine? Is this really going to make a big difference? I think the example that Rashford's been made, that we've made of Rashford, is everything that's needed. And I think going into other deals in the future and other players coming to Manchester United, you're going to know that you can't mess with Ruben Amorim. You're going to know that this is something that you're not going to be able to get away with. And agents will get a hold of this, and it just starts to build a different sort of aura around Manchester United again. It starts to fill you with a bit more confidence that we are running ourselves, and the club is running like a proper football club again. Let's get into the chat on this one. Mr Dacio Sandero says, "Hi Adam, I had a thought on a player last night. Zinchenko, he's for sale, just turned 28, left back, good passer, versatile and intelligent player, 25 rated. Would you go? No, won't go anywhere near him, mate, to be honest. I really don't rate him at all. I don't. I think there's a reason City got rid of him. There's a reason why he's not fitting in the Arsenal side. And I don't want a City or an Arsenal player that isn't making it. I don't think he's as good as what people thought he was when he was at City. I really don't. And there's a reason why he's been sold, so I wouldn't go near him. I really wouldn't. Let's get some more comments. You say, We are not to play FC, but after Ahmad got his hat-trick against the bottom of the table Southampton, the club basically started worshipping Ahmad. That's obvious. That's how weak the mentality of this club is. It's got nothing to do with Player FC. You can talk about standards, that's fair enough, but that's got nothing to do with Player FC. Player FC is players basically running this football club. Ahmad has just got a deal after putting absolutely everything in with a crap manager and being mistreated, and now performed to the levels that he has this season. Miles better than anyone else at this club, and he's nowhere near the wages that any of the underperforming players at the top of this football club are on. So that's what I mean by Player FC. When you talk about worshipping Ahmad, we're not worshipping him. We're actually praising him for doing what a player should be doing at Manchester United. And right now, if United fans are actually clinging on to a little bit of hope in Ahmad and how professional he's been, then I don't blame them. And I wouldn't ever call anybody out for doing that. So go and praise Ahmad because he deserves it. Nobody else does. Nobody else has gone to that level that Ahmad has this season in terms of performance for me. So yeah, we can praise Ahmad all we want, and I'm not going to have a go at anyone, Ken, for having an opinion on Ahmad in that way. So yeah, it's nothing to do with Player FC, that at all. What we're talking about is everything that's happened with Marcus Rashford through the years, not just him, Paul Pogba, Jesse Lingard. I'm thinking the likes of, you can go right back into some of the other transfers that were made at this football club and some of the mistakes that were made as well. There is plenty there to get into. You look at some of them academy players that have been through Manchester United's academy and how they've turned out. I mean, seriously, roll them off. Like, do we need to? Like, right now, who is top of the tree? They're actually trying to top trump each other right now. Some of Manchester United's players of yesteryear coming into the modern age. Like, Rashford's competing alongside Jesse Lingard. He's competing alongside Paul Pogba. Do I need to bring Mason Greenwood into the conversation? What the hell is wrong with Manchester United players that come through this academy over the last decade? And this shows you how poorly this football club was run. So when you're talking about bigging players up, I think Ineos have got to grips with this. These academy players are not just going to come through now and be lauded up. Look what's happening with Kobbie Mainoo. Look what's happening with Alejandro Garnacho. I think an example was set over the last 10 years with these academy players. Look where they are now. And we thought they were the best of the best, didn't we? We all fell into the trap because when Fergie was here, everything was run right. And when you look at them academy players that came through under him, under his stewardship, under his structure, everything, and that's what was good about Manchester United, and that's what we were used to. So we automatically fell into the trap when he left that this would just continue. But because of the mismanagement and poor running of Manchester United, look at what has come through the ranks. Look at the players that have got any affiliation or link to Manchester United's academy and where they are now. And tell me that this club hasn't been run like shit over the last 10 years. And look what Ineos are doing right now. All of a sudden, you've got the brightest stars, and everyone's kicking off about it, about Garnacho leaving, his academy player. This is not what we're like. Well, we didn't think we were going to be like the academy players and the way we treated them when they came through, like Pogba, Greenwood, Rashford, Lingard, and all them after Sir Alex Ferguson left. I think Ineos have recognised, looking at the data, looking at the numbers, looking at what's happened over the last few years with certain players, especially academy players coming through, it doesn't work. Something is wrong, and standards have to be raised. And you know what? It goes back into that conversation about what Sir Jim said now. All of a sudden, staff at Manchester United are under pressure. They want the academy lads to be winning at the top, whereas before it was just about feeding players into the first team. We got that. But they want the club to be winning things at the highest level. They want to be competitive at 18 and under 21 level and win things there. That wasn't the way it was before. I know this for certain because of what's happened in the academy. I've interviewed Nick Cox and I've spoken to him one-on-one about what the vision is for United, looking after the lads at the academy and things like that. But now Ineos have come in, they've changed it all. So when we look at it and say, oh, it's not right that Kobbie could be leaving, he's not getting a contract, Garnacho could be sold by Manchester United, don't just jump necessarily into that negative box and say Ineos are killing this football club. Look what killed the football club to put us in the state where we are now first. Look at the players that I've just mentioned from the academy that we're now looking at in the same way as Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo. Look at Rashford where he is. Look at what he's doing to this club. Look at what happened with Pogba, Lingard, Mason Greenwood, all of these players. Like, we built them up into absolute legendary superstar status before they even got anywhere near that tag. I just think we're going at it the right way. That's player power FC. That's what the problem has been at this football club for many a years. And hopefully Rashford sees everything now that way. Hopefully he sees everything that is going on at Manchester United, the stance that Ineos are taking, and everything that is now going forward looks to me like it is because the football club wants to run it that way. Because it is going to be the Manchester United way, not the player way. Gifted memberships from Huggles and the Angry Beaver. I don't know why I'm laughing at that name. I love YouTube names, honestly. They're the best thing. Very creative these days, everybody. Gehan says, we need to clear out all the 30-year-old plus players in the summer, along with Dello, to make as much money as possible. If we are to catch up, we need to take drastic action and be brave. Look, I think, and actually, Rob Dawson is all over the Nkunku news at the moment from ESPN. I was actually at Carrington this week, as you know, and I was talking to Rob Dawson and just talking about it from a journalist side, from a fan side, and we're sort of toing and throwing like what's needed and what's right and what's wrong. And we didn't agree on everything, but I think Rob made a great point when he actually said to me, and I agree with this completely, is if you told this fan base and you were open with them and said to them, look, the only way we move forward if we do a full reset. So we're going to get rid of everyone that we possibly can. Obviously, there's going to be a few that are left over. We're going to work with the academy players. We're going to bring in young talent, possibly like Dorgu, Leon, other players, Dibbling. Like, this is the way we're going. We're going to build it from the bottom up again. We're going to get rid of everyone. We're just going to reset. Don't expect much to happen. We're going to reset everything and try and build up again. It's not going to be pretty. We're not going to be competing at the top level. But if you said that to every single Manchester United fan, I think they would accept it. They would accept that this is gone. They would accept this is unsalvageable with the players that we've got. Because we all know it is. And we're right behind Ruben Amorim. So if you said this to every single Manchester United fan, I don't think there'd be many that would say, you know what, no, we need to still be competing at the top. We need to be clinging on to bleeding Europa League and everything like that. No, let's just see. Let's just get behind a manager and a coach that by bringing in younger players that he can nurture and mould into the type of player he wants is going to be the future of this football club, rather than trying to get the ready-made, perfect fit players. Look, I know we need first team 11 players, but the only way that you do a full reset is by getting rid of everyone. And I understand the comments. It's an impossible task because I don't think you can get rid of everyone. You still need players. But the only way you can reset it, and I don't think this is going to happen, by the way. I think it is unrealistic. But that's the only way you could do it. Please give the video a like, everybody, as well. We have near 1,700 in the room, but we've not hit 200 likes yet. Surely if you get it up on a Saturday morning and getting you all G'd up for your weekend, we deserve a few likes on the video. Please hit the like button. Make sure you have subscribed as well to Forever United TV if you haven't. That way you can get into the chat. We will be doing a section at the back end of the show where we do get into all of your comments as well. So please do. Keep liking the video and make sure you have got your subscribe button pressed and bell notification on as well. We have a busy day today. We have got Soccer Saturday coming up this afternoon on Football Talks. Link is in the live chat right there, right now, pinned to the top, everybody. So make sure that you do get onto that as well. And I'm going to move on to the next story now, actually, which is all about Christopher Nkunku. And that started doing the rounds last night again because of Florian Plettenberg and Fabrizio Romano. So where are we actually at with this situation? Well, when you look at everything that's been said so far on this, last night we went into it. A rumour came about. Rob Dawson of ESPN was talking about Manchester United have been not rumoured, but Manchester United have actually asked Chelsea to be kept informed about the situation with Christopher Nkunku. Now, talks apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, have taken place at the back end of December to the availability of Christopher Nkunku. Where I don't like this deal is if they're trying to move this into a swap with Christopher Nkunku and Alejandro Garnacho. No. There's no point in selling Garnacho in a swap deal. It takes away all of the PSR. It takes away everything that's happened. If you can do two separate deals, like will pay you this. If money's not being exchanged, then it's not really working on the books. United need to take the cash for Garnacho. We spoke about this last night. I think that's the ideal scenario. Look, I'm not saying Nkunku's a bad player. I'm not saying he hasn't got quality. We went through all of his details last night. Look, everybody's been banging on now. I think a few people have put Nkunku up there. They put his injury record up there for everybody to see. So when you look at it and you add it up, all of his injuries look quite bad. But everyone can get injured. You know what I mean? I don't want to bring up player injuries. Like, I know he's had a bad injury record. In terms of his knee, that was his worst injury, and that was the one that kept him out for most of his time at Chelsea. But he's had a full season this season. Like, let's just leave the injuries aside. It should be looked into. Let's just look at this deal as it is on the table. There has to be more than Christopher Nkunku out there in that position. Now, if they're trying to do a deal because Chelsea cannot afford to buy Garnacho, you walk away from that instantly. We are not bowing down to make something work just for Chelsea. This would be bad for Manchester United, I feel. If Chelsea want Garnacho, come and pay the money. It's as simple as that. We don't want to swap. We don't want to just make it easier for you to buy him for the sake of getting a player out the door. It doesn't work for United in any way. I have confidence that Ineos won't fall into this trap and be stupid enough to do this deal. And again, I just want to separate the two players here and say that Nkunku is still a good player. He was brilliant for RB Leipzig. His time at Chelsea has not worked out. This happens with players. Injuries and concerns, yep, look, he's still a good player. I want to make that clear. He's 27. He doesn't look like the profile of player that Ineos would normally go for, United would go for. But on that, like I said before, like this was Ineos's sort of look on the transfer window when we went into the summer with Ten Hag. They wanted to call out the style of football. Now, remember the interviews that was said? Like, Ineos changed their whole football philosophy just off one interview with Ruben Amorim and went right in with Ruben Amorim. They wanted him to run it and play the way he wants to play. They were that convinced by him. So we're going to go into a transfer window now and see players coming in that Ruben Amorim wants. So does it change? Do we actually get a couple of older players in? Do we take players that have probably got 3 or 4 years left in them rather than 8 to 10 years left in them? Do we mix it up a little bit? Is Nkunku that bit of experience that United need right now? Because we've got too many young players in our front line. Like, as good as Ahmad is, and he's tearing it up, like, Xerxes is raw, Højlund is raw, Garnacho, very raw. All of these players haven't done it for a sustained period of time. Maybe we're looking at Christopher Nkunku just because he has got a bit more experience. He's stronger, he's more physical, he's got a little bit more to him. He is a very, very good player. Let's not kid ourselves here, what we're looking at. I just don't think this deal works for United, and there's no point in getting rid of Garnacho for Nkunku. Now, if you're swapping someone like Cole Palmer for Garnacho or someone along them lines, or a better player, for instance, a Caicedo or something like that, then you're looking at this completely differently. United have to get their ships aligned here in terms of what they want. Like, we are getting rid of pure potential that could still work out. We've got to say that with Garnacho. He performed well the other night. He's not done too bad recently. He's had a couple of off games. We know it's not really worked for Ruben Amorim. We've covered all of that. But Christopher Nkunku, again, like, if you think he fits into this system or not, I just think there's better for United to get at a better deal, at a better rate. Like, Chelsea wants 70 million for Nkunku. In one way, that tells you that they think he is worth a lot and he is a good player. And another one, you're thinking you're being ripped off at the same time because he hasn't proven it in the Premier League. Scored plenty of goals this season. Well, again, like I said last night, he's only got, 3 goal involvements in the Premier League this season. He's not being used by Maresca. All of his goal output, 17 of them, have come pretty much, I think, 90% from the Conference League, the Europa Conference League. And that includes 2 from the playoffs to get into the Conference League. So you're talking, and no disrespect, bottom of the barrel football clubs here that are actually nowhere near the level of the Premier League, which Nkunku's tearing apart. It's great. But you just have to look at it and go, Garnacho for Nkunku, no. It takes away all the PSR benefits. If Chelsea want Garnacho, come and pay the money. United, apparently, according to Romano, have also been looking at other players that could work in a swap deal or could work for them that are in Chelsea squad that they may want to be offloading. Please don't go anywhere near Ben Chilwell. That is something that we don't want to be talking about. Forget that. And then when you're looking at anybody else in that Chelsea squad, you take your pick. There are players that we would want. There are players that we know we're never going to get our hands on. And there are players there that I think, like I just said, are just falling into Chelsea's side of this deal and prospering them than it would more than us. We need to make the most out of this deal. If Chelsea want him, like I said, make it work on United's terms. Otherwise, you can just do one. It's as simple as that. Let's get into the comment section on this bit now. Nkunku is up again, everybody. Sorry it is here. It just is what it is. Red Baron is in the chat with a super chat. I'm getting stressed out that people are trying to make out like the 66 quid is valid because of the financial issues at United. It's not our debt. Who is validating that, by the way, Red Baron? Talk to me a bit more, mate. He's come back with another super chat. Same old story. People make stupid decisions at the top and the working people have to pay the price. Look, there is a banner that goes up in the Stretford end every single home game which says 66 quid, big line through it, your debt, not ours. Stop making the fans pay for your mistakes. Look, all anybody wants at this football club is value for money and the football to be what we're paying for. It really isn't at the moment. And because of the mismanagement of this football club, the fans are now being punished. Thank you for the gifted super membership as well, London. I love that. Keep your likes coming in on your comments, everybody. We're over 300 likes now. We're getting there. Let's see if we can get up to 500 before the show finishes, everybody. We're well over 1,700 in the room. Make sure you have hit that subscribe button as well, everyone. Keep up to date with all Manchester United news. Into the chats we go. United Spotlight says, I would be playing Bruno as a 9 in this current squad. He worked in that position back at the end of last season, and we don't have a striker that's worth playing anyway. Look, I've said Bruno should be our 9, and I don't think he's our best striker, to be honest. He's our best goal scorer. He's always there in the right positions. We've shown that against Rangers the other night as well. He just gets it. He understands where he should be, and he will get us goals. I think there is a position there for Bruno Fernandes in Manchester United's number 9 position. I really do. Get rid of Trashford, Anthony, Highland, Zirkzee, Vindelhoff, Mount, Malacia, Shaw, and Nana. Easier said than done, Stephen, but I'm kind of with you on that one. I do want to give Zirkzee a little bit more time, considering he's only just come in. I do. It's like you said. I'm stuck between my cutthroat and ruthless approach and what's needed, and then giving players a chance like everybody else has a chance. You know where? I think we're all at that point right now. Again, says he thinks Bruno's terrible as a striker. I don't think he is. I think he's safe up there, to be honest. I think he'd definitely lead the press up there, and then I don't think he's going to be positionally out of shape at all when it comes to what we need in midfield either later on, because that's where we've been breaking down. The Angry Beaver with another gifted suit membership. Thank you very much, mates. Speaking of Chelsea Deadwood, when is Mason Mount fit again? Well, I think we're hearing, from what I was told this week, maybe the back end of February for Mason Mount. Similar to Luke Shaw, to be honest. Both on track in their different injuries that they've both got. But yeah, both making progress, I've been told. If you want to look into that as a good thing or not, what is progress with them two these days? I just want to see them on the pitch and no one else cares about anything else. I think we just wait for them to turn up. I think that's it. Stop worrying about them. When they turn up, just take it as a pleasant surprise. And that way we don't get stressed about them anymore. I think that's how we've got to look at it. And Nkunku, my Zinchenko shout was because he is an experienced left-back and relatively cheap. And Nkunku could be an okay squad player. By no means would he be a starter at 70 million. That is insane. Is Nkunku better than anything we've got up front right now? He doesn't take a position of Ahmad if he's in a 10. Ahmad and Nkunku and a striker? Or does Nkunku play as a 9? I think he plays both roles, to be honest, Nkunku. I think he's that type of player. But I think in terms of quality, I think he is better than I would say Nkunku's better than Xerxes and Højlund. 100%. You can bring in his injury record to that and everything if you want to, but I think he is better than them too, quality-wise, and what we've seen so far. It's just, again, consistency-wise, are you concerned that he's just going to go a crock again and we're going to end up investing into someone who could just pick up another injury? That I think is what everybody's looking at in this one, and I think why everyone's just gone, forget it. Like me, myself, the price tag is what's done me with Nkunku. You forget it. If he's 30 million, I'm interested. But at that price, forget it. Go take a walk. Not a chance. Block in the chat says, are we sure that's a Jim didn't buy a share of Chelsea? We seem to be working with Chelsea's interest at heart. That's what a lot of fans will start thinking. If we bow down to Chelsea's demands and we end up doing a deal here that looks like it's benefiting them more, it's going to be more pressure and more scrutiny on Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and questions will be asked about where his real intentions lie and why Chelsea are actually doing so well out of this. Look, it may have absolutely nothing to do with it. But when you look at it, you've also just got to say, well, the fan base are going to ask questions. You clearly did try and buy Chelsea. You have a season ticket at Chelsea. Why are we doing business with Chelsea like this? Like we heard the other day when we was talking, the relationship at the top, at the highest level between both Chelsea and Manchester United is very, very good. I wouldn't be surprised if that was because of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his ties and links to Chelsea. I do think that if United are going to get a deal out of Chelsea, everyone will be looking at Sir Jim and going, well, if you have got any interest in Chelsea, surely you should be getting us a good deal out of this. And he's right, Block's right. Questions will start to be asked around this deal and what is actually going on. Again, like Plettenberg says that Manchester United are fully in and well interested in Nkunku. You can see at the bottom there, like they do have a major interest in it. I'll just read it out actually. Manchester United have seriously entered the race for Christopher Nkunku and are in direct contact with Chelsea. I'm not saying I'm worried about this. I'm not saying that I feel like it is going to come to anything, but you just don't know. In the last week of the window, things happen, don't they? And sometimes the right decisions are made, sometimes a lot, and most of the time the wrong decisions are made. And that's really the biggest concern with this. In other news as well, we do have a lot of links to other players, as you know, and we're hearing, obviously you can see going across the bottom of your screen there, that Diblin, another player United have been linked with, in terms of his preferred choices and what club he would want to go to. Tyler Diblin apparently would only want to go to Manchester United. That would be his top target. If that is the case, then just go and make the deal happen. I don't mind spending a bit more money for a player like Tyler Diblin, who had clearly got immense talent, has adapted to the Premier League instantly. And these are the types of young players that United are trying to find now before they come to fruition. But the problem United have got is we should be creating our own Tyler Diblins. And I hear this argument all of the time in Manchester United's fan base. It's all right saying that, but Manchester United, in the situation we're in, unless we clear the decks, we're never going to create an environment for a player like that to come through. Never. Because look what's happened to Garnacho. He came through and should be the Tyler Diblin at Manchester United right now, but we're looking to move him on. Now, Garnacho should be that player that is being signed down to a contract, but look at what's happened. The demands, how Ten Hag treated him, the stardom that he's built up, and everything that I said at the top of this show is why we're never going to see the Tyler Diblins come through at Manchester United. We're never going to find these players because they don't get the right opportunities. I think the mistreatment at United and how this club has been run is why we're not finding the Diblins. I understand that we are trying to change the structure at the football club right now and make this a possibility, and this could happen. But for now, we are having to spend a little bit more on these younger, talented players. Like, look at Patrick Dorgu. We're going to have to spend we're going to have to get to around about 30 million for him. It's not right, but that's what United are going to have to do. Why are we desperately looking to bring a player in January when we could have maybe got this deal done better in the summer? Well, because of Ten Hag, because of the recruitment, because of the other managers that have come before, because of everything that I spoke about this morning. Like, why were we solely relying on Luke Shaw and Tyrone Malacia in our left-back position? Ten Hag. That's why. In that position, in that specific area, that's all on him. And I did defend him, by the way, when we had the situation with Reguilon and sending him back last season. That shouldn't have happened. He was misinformed. But why are United not going out and getting that left-sided player, knowing that you've got Tyrone Malacia and Luke Shaw as your only hopes going into this season? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Two of the biggest injury-prone players at Manchester United. Unfortunately for Malacia, it wasn't all his fault. But still, we know the injury situation with both of them. Why are we going into this season with them as our only options? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. But that's where we're at right now. We're desperately having to spend more in January because of the poor recruitment and poor structure at Manchester United. And I just look at what we have got and go, there's nothing else we can do. We are going to have to spend more money. I was arguing the point last night about Dorgu. Walk away. It's like the more and more I think about it, I'm thinking, you're just going to have to spend the money now. We need the players. And I said all along, where I get angry and I get reactional about certain things and clubs taking us for a ride, we do need the players. We do need the players. As long as they have got that value to Manchester United, which I just don't think Nkunku has got enough of, where Dorgu probably has. And if he is Ruben Amorim's top target, get him. Dibbling, you get him. I think these players are the ones United should be prioritising. There is stories going around today in the transfer rumours and speculation. United are looking to really strengthen and back Ruben Amorim in the summer. Hakimi is a player that United are looking at. I'm just going to kill that one dead right there. He's going to be signing a new deal at PSG. You don't want to really be dealing with PSG. He's got 2 years left on his contract anyway. He's a player now that's kissing the badge there, playing well. He's a brilliant player. I would love him at the football club, but unrealistic. Let's forget about that type of player. Moving down, Florian Wirtz. That's another name that keeps coming up. Manchester United should be getting. He's got 3 years left on his contract at Leverkusen with Alonso. And his market value is around approximately 117 million right now. That's his market value. You're not going to get that for him. They're not going to. But even if you bring that down to a level that Leverkusen are going to take with that situation, that's 80 million plus minimum for Wirtz. Forget it. Move on. Next player in line. Then you're talking into the realms of like the Matheus Cunhas of this world, the Victor Gyökeres. Now we know that there's a clause in Gyökeres' contract for 58 million. That's where you should be going. Or we should have done a deal to get Osimhen with this Napoli deal and Garnacho. But obviously, Garnacho isn't as keen to move to Italy as he is to stay in the Premier League. And that's why we're dealing with Chelsea. This is why Nkunku's coming to the equation as well right now. But yeah, when you look at Gyökeres, 58 million in the summer, I think that is value for money and some. And that's a player United should be going for. If we are going to wait it out now, and we're going to go into the summer window, and we're not bringing the striker in right now, Gyökeres is your man, I think. We know that Newcastle are looking now at Matheus Cunha. There's about 5 or 6 Premier League clubs looking at the situation with Cunha right now. It's going to be exciting to see how that one pans out and what happens. Interesting to see if he does play today. By the way, we are covering the Wolves and Arsenal game at 3 o'clock today on Football Talks. That is our main game. We have got the other games up as well. We are doing a Soccer Saturday at 3 o'clock today. We'll be on a bit earlier, but kick-off's at 3 o'clock. We've got the Arsenal-Wolves game and all of the other Premier League action. So join us there. If you haven't already, subscribe to Football Talks as well as Forever United TV. That's our other channel. We'll be continuing all of the conversations from today. I will be back on FUTV if any news does break throughout the day as well, don't forget. Into the comments section we go right now on everything that I've just said again. Over 1,800 of you in the room. Thank you for joining us. I love that. Over 400 likes, getting closer to that 500 mark. Let's get into a few more comments. Andy says, this club cannot just sign big-time Charlies on big salaries anymore. We don't want Rashford, Anthony Martial, Mount, Casemiro, Eriksen of this world. Brendan says, don't mind spending a little bit more to get the right players, but no more like Anthony type deals. That's we're more than double market value. I don't think we're ever going to be there. Like Murto again. How many times have I said it? That guy, wow. Talk about not qualified for a job role. Jesus. Need another ball-playing 10 to play next to Ahmad. 2 wing-backs. A proper 6 to play with Agate. I think we need an 8 more United spotlight. Edison, He's the one. Get me Edison. He is perfect to work alongside Agate. And Mainoo will have to pick his chances and try and develop a little bit more. Look, this is Man United. You need to do more. These players are going to have to start realising that. Let's see. Get Frimpong. We can't just go out and get players. 1, we don't have the funds. 2, the club needs to want to sell. And 3, we are not united with power anymore. People need to get a grip about reality. There is a reality, which is why we're talking about Dorgu, why we're talking about Dorgu Lesnane, why we're talking about Diblin. This is the reality. We have to start again. We have to be realistic with our targets. There are very, very good players out there that we can get that are better than what we have got right now. And that's what we should be looking at. Really, Tyler Diblin's preference is us, 100%. I'd move mountains to get him in. Can everyone see what this lad will be? It's just gone off my screen, sorry. Everyone can see what this lad will be in 5 years. Get him in ASAP. It will be like turning the clock back. I love that enthusiasm, I really do. Hey, look, I have to get off to football. Alfie's playing for FC United, so I will be football this morning. I'm going to leave you all there. Like I said, I will be back around midday-ish if there is any news going on. So stay tuned. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button, everybody. Make sure that you've got your bell notifications on. Please give this video a like on the way out. We should be hitting that 500 mark then. Well over 1,800 in the room for that. Brilliant for a Saturday morning. Again, thank you everybody for all of your commitment to the channel and your help. All of the donations, new members, welcome. All subscribers that have just joined as well, welcome. I'm Adam. This is Forever United TV. Well, we'll see you later on. We do have our normal scheduling for lunchtime. Hopefully, if there is any news. Then we've got the watch-alongs and Soccer Saturday on Football Talks as well. I'll keep you up to date with everything. But for now, that is it this morning. Enjoy.